Today I wanted to take you behind the hoop for these hoops that I made for my Craftsy class about 5 years ago. I'll put the link for that class. It's still available in my description. But let me take you behind the hoop on these. So this is a pattern that you get with the class, and this is the one that I had made for the sample. So let's look behind. You can see I've got some thicker threads here. Not tons of beadwork on this one. My goal was to keep it fairly simple, but also to teach the technique of collage. And so that's why you only see some thread work here and not tons of thread with all the bead work. And then this one, same thing with this one. Lots of thicker threads, but a fairly simple hoop guts on both of these. So the way it worked for the class is I had to make one hoop that I would then show, and then we would recreate it for the class. So this is taking you through the technique of fabric collage. And I thought it was a fun pattern for a crafter or someone who just enjoys making with their hands, something that would appeal to lots of people. And so let's see, for this one, I had to keep them both, like one idea had to translate to the hoop that I did on camera for the actual class. So a lot of the stitches are all the same. Like for the M, it's a stem stitch with a few beads. I did the same exact thing on this one, stem stitch with a few beads. This one I used these really cool, like, I forget what they're called, but they're like a square bead, but there's 4 different holes, and so they're nice and secure on the fabric. So I used the green version here, and then for the class, sewed on the red version so that you can see how it gets stitched on the fabric. Used lots of little seed beads along here. I really like those colors a lot together. And same thing here. For this one, I made these little tassels with embroidery floss. And then for this one, I used tassels that I had bought just to see the variety between the two hoops and different things that you can do. If you're into making tassels, you can make your own, but if you want to purchase a tassel, you can get the same sort of effect. I used smaller buttons here just because I really like this color scheme. And with this one I really like this one. Might be one of my favorite buttons, the green one there. I used a little pom-pom trim. This trim I had in my stash. It was something that I had used for curtains at one point, like a trim along the bottom of the curtains. So I save little bits and pieces of that sort of trim to add to embroidery projects down the road. This is a different sort of, it's still a pom-pom trim, but just slightly different than that one. And then around the outside of this hoop, one of my favorite stitches, if you're going to do a simple hoop and you want like sort of a border to frame it, I love the feather stitch with little seed beads. And so that's what I did all the way around on this one. And I did the same thing here. I think with the 2 colors, just the one color of seed bead and the one color of thread, I think that's a really cool effect. So those are my make hoops that you can see if you take my Craftsy class. You also get this pattern as well as a few others that come with the class. So I hope you enjoyed this little look behind the scenes of these hoops, and happy stitching!